Thanks everybody for taking the time to be here today. I know everybody in this room was my dad's favourite people, and it would have meant a lot for him to know that you're all here. I think we're still waiting on Graham, so he might just burst through the doors. Sorry. I think we're waiting on Graham, we might just burst through the door at any moment, but I told them to let him in if he makes it okay. We're here obviously today to say goodbye to my dad and Glenys' husband and all of your family and friends. And I think it's really, really fitting for the flowers there to be on display because they were beautifully created by Kathryn as a testament to how much he loves Spain. I think it was his second home spiritually, it was his heartland. And the casket is covered with the flag of Korea, a place that was very significant to him during his army years. Just so you know, there's a camera at the back, and this has been filmed for the benefit of people who can't be here. I'll put it up on YouTube and send everybody a link. I've got family and friends who want to see it, and obviously anybody else who wants to can see it as well. My eldest brother Tony, Bob's first son, isn't able to make it, but he sends his greetings to everybody. You've all got a copy of the order of service, which hopefully gives you a sense of what's going to happen for the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. And there's also a little book for you to take away and have a read of. It's a kind of an annotated collection of his army memoirs. Lots of stories in it. Some fruitful, fruity, colourful, mainly blue language in it. If anybody's politically or culturally sensitive, I apologise on my dad's behalf. But if you can get over that, there's some interesting stuff in there, and I hope you enjoy what you have to read. If anybody wants another copy, I've got quite a few spares, so just ask me afterwards. And talking of afterwards, I understand that we are going to Jan and David's afterwards for a celebration send-off, which I'm really looking forward to, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk and share stories in a socially distant fashion. Can everybody hear me okay? Am I loud enough? Right, okay. And Graham's here. So we'll just pause for a second while Graham joins us. Here he comes. So as you've noticed, probably in the order of service, there will be 3 eulogies. But I'm going to try and leave time at the very end for if anybody wants to say a few words. Under no compulsion or compunction, if you don't want to, that's totally fine as well. So, as I said, Tony, Bob's oldest son, couldn't be here today, unfortunately. But he has sent some words over. I'm going to ask Kathryn now to get up and read those for us. Thank you.
Can everyone hear me okay? Too loud? Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm just going to read a few words sent by Tony, who's in Brisbane at the minute, so can't be here. Sorry, I can't do the Australian accent, but I'll try my best. Okay. What to say about my father? His life was full and there was rarely a dull moment when we were kids. He was a tyrant at times, and home often felt like army camp when he was around. Up at dawn, make the bed, do your chores, be productive. We knew he loved his time in the army, and he often spoke about it with affection, but we didn't always appreciate the home becoming an extension of his passion. But that was just a child's perspective. We knew he loved us, that he provided for us, protected us, worked hard, and despite the tough regime, we did a lot of fun things together as a family. I learned so much from my dad and try to emulate him when I can. Looking back now, as a 66-year-old father with teenage grandchildren of my own, I've come to appreciate my dad training us up the way he wanted us to go as adults. There was nothing he couldn't build or fix, and he would take no nonsense from us regarding Cora or Mum. We would never dare answer her back when he was around. He was an obsessive diarist and a storyteller, a perfectionist, and he liked to finish what he started. He was also a great sketch artist, a skill which I see more in Mark than myself or Paul. Mark clearly got all of Dad's creative talents, which skipped us both completely. Much of the rest stuck, however, for which I am forever grateful. He and my mum made me the person I am today. She taught us to cook, clean, iron, do laundry, even knit and sew. She was never going to inflict an ill-trained husband on any future wife of her sons. We were a happy family, even though we didn't have much, it was all we needed. He worked long hours, often away from home, so we mostly only saw him on weekends. We were a close and relatively happy family for the most part, and all my siblings, including Janice, our half-sister, remain close to this day. Dad's parents were a strong influence in my life as well. Nana and Grandpa, we called them. They were always around, always supportive, and I spent a lot of time with them growing up. Our older teenage years were a challenge for Dad, with his two eldest boys wanting to spread their wings. Paul and I left home early, but Mum always wanted to make sure there was a home to come back to if we wanted. I always loved and respected my dad, but it took becoming an adult and having a mortgage and a family of my own to understand how tough the era I was born into was, less than a decade after the war ended. I remember Dad's laugh and his propensity for off-colour jokes, much to Mum's horror. He loved Monty Python and Spike Milligan and was well read. I think my love of reading may have come from Dad. I remember Dad bringing home a new motorcycle when I was very young. His love of bikes was a passion he passed on to me, and I still ride them today. I was so fascinated with the glowing exhaust pipe of his new bike that I wrapped my little hands around it and thus began my first experience of serious burns. I remember hearing my mum scream one evening in the cellar at Harcourt Road, Nottingham, and saw Dad leap over Paul, me and the sofa and race down to see what was going on, only to discover a mouse had pinned her down, teetering on an old tea chest in the corner. I remember when the Christmas tree caught fire along with the curtains and had to be thrown outside. That was the last time we used a real candle on a Christmas tree. I remember Mark being born in the front room of Harcourt Road and Dad taking us out during the delivery. We came home to a baby brother who we all adored and who was only 11 when I emigrated down under. I remember seeing Dad go off to work in Algeria for 9 months to earn enough money so we could move out of Harcourt Road and buy Wakefield Road, a big detached house, in order to house his growing family. We sold up and moved to York with our grandparents on Mum's side at this time, and it was there I sat my 11 plus. Although after his return and during the move back to our new home in Nottingham, my 11 plus results were lost, so I had to sit them again. I passed both times. I rebelled as a teenager though, and left school in 4th form to do an electrical apprenticeship. Paul and Mark struggled too to find their way in life at first, but we all ended up being smart kids and all did well in our chosen professions. Paul would have wanted to be here today, but that isn't possible, and that makes me sad because out of all of us, I always figured Paul and Dad were very much alike and understood each other more than Mark and me. I am also unable to be here today for obvious reasons, and I regret that too. I was looking forward to seeing him and Glenys again and would have been here until the world shut down and international flights became impossible. I thought we'd have more time, but that was not to be. Dad went out the way he would have wanted to, on his own terms, quickly and peacefully, with no fuss or bother. His last few years have been hard on him and Glenys as he slowly became more and more dependent on others. Last time I was over, in January 2018, we took him out for the day and I had the most wonderful time. He told me many stories and he never went to sleep once. It's a memory I'll always treasure. We had our ups and downs over the years, but at the end we were great friends. I have nothing but good memories left and I will miss him terribly. God bless you, Dad. You were my hero in so many ways. I love you.
My turn. Okay. My very earliest memories of my dad were that he was a giant of a man, the tallest guy in our street. My dad, for bigger than your dad, was a commonly thrown insult when I was a young boy, but 9.5 times out of 10, it was true for me. Dad was my hero. My childhood was idyllic due in great part to the parenting I received from him, which from memory was comprised almost entirely of adventures on roofs of garages, digging holes, messing about in boats, and driving bulldozers around on the weekends when he would take me to work with him. He often worked Saturdays when he was working locally. There were darker sides to this experience too, though. We moved around a lot due to the inconsistent nature of Dad's work. This resulted in me attending no fewer than 8 schools up to the age of 16, rather than the normal 2 or 3. He loved working abroad, usually in some desert somewhere, and I remember seeing the envelopes with exotic stamps falling through the letterbox whenever he was away, as he was a frequent letter writer. I'm sure all 3 of his sons drove Dad to distraction at times. I know I did, as I daydreamed and bumbled my way through much of my early and mid-teenage years up to my mum's death. After Mum died in 1980, Dad announced one day that we were going to give Australia a go, Tony's home since he immigrated in '74. Paul was recently married to his first wife and settled in an independent life of his own, so he sold up, packed up and headed off, just Dad and me. Looking back on this now, I'm sure it was a burden for him as he wanted to escape the surroundings, trappings and memories of his life with Mum. Dad and Australia didn't really get on. We were talking about this last night. It wasn't just the beer or the Australians, but I think it was mainly the beer and the Australians. And he headed back home early after only a few months, while I stayed on, loving every minute of it. So he came home, and the next thing I knew, he'd met and married Glenys, while I was still in Australia. When I finally returned home from Oz in the spring of '81, I'm sure I was a shock for Glenys. She had signed up for a life with her new husband, not his spotty oik of a teenage son. I lived with them for a few months before moving out to give them the space they needed. One memory of that time came back to me while I was writing this. Dad and Glenys had bought some chickens, but they turned out to be quite dismal egg layers. So one weekend they decided to head off somewhere for one of their many jaunts in one of their many camper vans, leaving me instructions to dispose of the chickens, plug them, good them and stick them in the freezer. I never realised it was so hard to kill a chicken. Most of them survived the neck wringing and required the services of a very blunt axe. Chickens can run quite a long time without a head, I discovered. Traumatised by this experience, I was very glad to see Dad and Glenys on their return. The next few years saw all our lives change, none more so than my dad's, who discovered that Glenys had as much of the wanderlust as him, and they went on to have many adventures over the long life they enjoyed. It would have been 40 years next January, I believe, but looking back, I think they had a lifetime of experiences together. Glenys was wonderful for my dad, pushing him when he needed it, as all husbands do apparently, and planning, always planning, as all wives do, mainly the next holiday, something Glenys had in common with Kathryn, my own wife. Over the years, whenever I visited or called, it seemed to me that Dad and Glenys were always either just back from their latest trip or planning their next one. Adventure was in Dad's DNA, and I'm so glad that this was given free rein during all the stages of his long life, particularly so during his many years with Glenys, as they explored the foreign parts that he loved so much. Over recent years, as he became frailer, their trips together became more curtailed, but he always kept his mind alive and active, roaming the globe through the pages of the many army and history books he loved so much. And it's been a privilege for me to help him produce his own book, recounting some of his army life, a period of time I call BG, or before Glenys. He loved that, and it helped form and shape him into the man that I remember. There's copies for everybody here today, and I hope you enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed preparing it. And as I said, if anybody wants another copy, you're more than welcome. Dad loved the sand on his feet and the sun on his back, and the chance to grab 40 winks after a hard day's graft. You've probably seen evidence of that up on the screen. Well, your grafting days are over now, Dad. Rest easy. I miss you. Love from your number 3 son. That's the hard part over for me. Now, Karen, will you come and say a few words, please?
Thank you, Mark, for inviting me to say a few words to everybody here. It's great because we're a small number and we all know each other quite well. And I've put here, I've only got notes, I haven't really written anything as such. I just want to say it is a bit like speed dating, I think this, we haven't got long. We can't put 40 years of information into 4 minutes, not very easily. So what I'm going to say is, anything that I've mentioned, or Kathryn, or Mark, or anything, ask us about later, okay? So we mentioned it was 40 years, it's nearly 40 years since Mum and Bob got married. We're going to have a ruby anniversary next January. What some of you might not know or might have forgotten, in actual fact, is they got off to a bit of a whirlwind start. They met and married within 3 weeks of meeting each other. That's just crazy, yeah? crazy. And I think it was a sort of an omen of how their life was going to be a bit sort of off kilter. So 3 weeks, and also they got married between courses at the restaurant before the meal. Just to be different, Mum had booked a 3-course meal for the guests before the ceremony, but there was slow service, and we realised that we couldn't complete the meal in time. So we said, it's okay, can we just nip out and get these guys married, and then we'll come back and have the pudding and the coffee if that's okay. And they said, yeah, and that was like great, and then we had a party that night. So that was the first thing. It became very clear to me as I got to know Bob, obviously I didn't know him from Adam to start with, that he liked very much children, dogs and old people. Now at that point he wasn't very keen on teenagers or students, layabouts. I remember that. You remember that, Janet? Yeah, she was a student at the time. I of course very soon afterwards brought my oldest daughter Kathryn into the equation, and because of her sort of quite unique circumstances, I didn't know I was going to bubble at this, but anyway, Bob was absolutely amazing to her, and obviously the other children as they came along, but it was really great, and other kids as well. Mum told me about when they went on their travels, that they had sort of a Pied Piper effect with the kids, and to talk about the Bistow kids, asked Mum later about the Bistow kids, and also about little Jenny that was their companion for 3 weeks on one holiday, wasn't it, Mum? When Kathryn was at middle school, they were taking the kids away for a week's holiday to Cornwall, and they needed, as they always do, they need some adult help as well. John and I had got Tess, tiny baby then. We couldn't go. Mum and Bob volunteered. They must have been mad. But they went off. And Bob became Uncle Bob then to the whole class, and to this day, Kathryn and Finn's friends still refer to Bob fondly as Uncle Bob. Very wonderful. The holidays, Max alluded to the holidays, mad for holidays, camper vans. Bob was a spontaneous person, he was a spontaneous driver. He often got lost, didn't he, John? Lost. But they got lost and found themselves in fantastic situations. And that was the fun of it, wasn't it, Mum, that was part of it all. I remember very clearly the story of when they went in April to Crigglestone and they decided to go kayaking, but the water levels were really high. And they were white, they both canoe capsized, didn't they? And I think they got, we could have been in this situation 25 years ago, I think. Anyway, Spain, yeah. Bob's spiritual home, I think, was Spain. He absolutely loved it. He loved everything about it. He didn't like France. Get me out of France, so let's get into Spain. Let's get the colour, the fiestas, the sangria, the brandy. He loved all of that in equal measure. He really did, and that's why I wanted to do it. And Kathryn was brilliant, didn't my Kathryn? She helped put that flower display together to represent the colours of Spain for Bob, because he wanted to go there. He was going to go in October, and he actually was quite happy if he never came back. He said he wanted money. We were quite happy if he stayed there. And
he used to say, leave me there.
Leave me there. So it's fine. Bob was really generous to me, Mum, always. He wanted her to buy nice things and to look nice. She only told me the other day when she was looking in a new mirror that she said I could do with Botox. I said, get it, you can afford it now. He kept his sense of humour, even recently, laughing off his tumbles and his old man accidents. He never once complained, honestly, he didn't. And I'll tell you one little memory there. This is about 3 years ago. I turned up in the middle of an afternoon, sunny afternoon, walked in. For some reason, my mum had an eye patch on, but Bob was sitting in his chair, wearing a fez and a smoking jacket, and he'd got a glass of brandy. And I said, why? Just fancied it, It was great, and he was ready for today. I know he was completely, at peace with today's final journey, and he chose the last song that we're going to hear at the end to reflect that, because it was his adventurous spirit, and he chose the song himself to represent how he feels about today. He lived a long, a full, and obviously a very happy life. So I'd just like to say, But before I do, ask Kathryn about who sank the boats, underwater tea parties and hedgehog hunts. That's one for Kathryn later. So yeah, he lived a long, full and happy life, and hasta la vista from me, Roberto.
Thank you, Karen. I don't know how we're doing for time. I think we're getting quite tight up against it. I was going to give people the opportunity to say something short if they wanted to, but maybe we'll reserve that for Janet and David afterwards, if that's okay with everybody, because I think they want the room back. I'm just going to close, if that's okay with everybody. Although Dad was brought up and professed himself to be Sealy, Church of England, I know he wasn't particularly religious. So this is a closing prayer to him, my earthly father. Dad, you made Tony, Paul and me who we are, good and bad. But the best of you and the best of us means that you do live on today. You loved, honoured and gave to many with your time, your strength and your loyalty. And your reward are the stories and memories that we carry with us. We won't forget you, we honour you and we love you. Bob, Roberto, Dad, Grandad, Uncle. God bless you, Mr. Robert Allen Case. And now the song.